Meg, just to add. So Meg and I used to be enemies, or
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a wrap!
We are heroes and dreamers. We are restless believers.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of All Abroad Podcast. And today we have on deck me, Sweeney May, then we have Pauline, then we have Joy, and we have Meg on the line. And so today's topic is going to be something that's very timely, very time sensitive, and could be controversial. So it just depends on what we all want to talk about today in terms of COVID. We started this project, right? Like somewhere earlier in the COVID journey of this year. And I must say 2020 has been full of challenges, not just personally and within our friends and family where we can't gather, we can't do this podcast live together in person as much as we want to. That's why you're seeing us via Zoom, which is okay. So thank you to technology, we are still able to do what we need to do. So COVID has hit the US really hard, like maybe mid-March. So I want to start asking you guys before I share my 2 cents, how has, in general, a very general question, how has COVID affected you personally? Who wants to go first?
Me.
Pauline. Okay, Pauline's in the house, going to tell us about how COVID has affected her life.
Well, it really affected me big time. First of all, I work in a skilled nursing facility, so I'm a marketing director there. So my job as a marketing director has it stopped everything because of COVID. So I can't go to doctors' offices. I can't go to hospitals to do my job as doing marketing. So basically it stopped everything. And most of our patients come in and out from our facility to the hospital. So most of our patients will definitely get COVID if they are exposed at the hospital. So yeah, it affected me as a person, not only in my job and also as a mother, because my children, when it comes to their schooling, we have to do Zoom, we have to do online classes for them. And it's really challenging for me as a parent because we have to make sure they learn in a different way. So it's challenging for them also as students. And also, of course, as a person in our everyday living, like when we go out to groceries, we have to wear masks, we have to do social distancing and all that. There's a lot of protocols, there's a lot of guidelines that we have to follow. If not, we're going to get COVID, or you'll never know,
I feel what you're saying is that it's so scary because you don't really know if the other person next to you or somebody touched the chips you're about to buy and they had COVID. So I totally feel that.
No, I think it's just in general, like how you live now is so different than before. I miss the life before. Come to think of it, before we complain, oh, my life is like this, like that, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. And some other people, they complain, but then we come to realize that this life that we have right now with COVID, it's harder. The life before is so much easier. You don't have to wear masks. You can go to concerts. You can go anywhere. And now you have to be very cautious about it. You have to protect yourself. So yeah.
And then another thing to remember too, this episode right here, that's a COVID special, could go down in history. Many years from now, your children will grow up and talk about 2020 as if it was just like when Spanish flu happened or the Great Depression happened. This is going to be a part of history. And even now, as we're discussing this on our podcast could come up 20 years from now when someone is writing a paper about COVID. So no pressure, but definitely think about that. The things that we share here today is going to be something that could help someone in the future when it happens again, or, studying their history. We're going to be someone's history sometime in the future, right? So what about you, Joy? How has COVID affected you personally?
Well, personally, there are the good and the bad for the COVID. Well, I'm a frontliner. I work in the hospital. Thankfully, my unit is not a COVID unit, so I don't really feel the stress. I mean, I felt it, but the stress of taking care of a COVID patient because I have never taken care of a COVID patient. It has affected the way I think and the way I live my life. I think now that we're stuck at home, we think most of really what matters to us, you know? We have not seen our family. So simple things like a simple hug, a simple get together with friends that we take for granted back in the day are now we miss it a lot, or just seeing friends and all of that. So those are the things that I miss. And I also, it affects me because I want to take Faith to places where she could possibly learn a lot, explore, but I can't do that because I'm limited. The good thing about COVID is that David is my husband, has been working from home for 6 months now. So that's a positive for us in terms of him being home, watch the baby. But it has also says a lot about your relationship, our relationship. You know, you are in with your significant other at home 24/7. So it brought up a lot of issues, good and the bad. So there's just a lot of things to put into one, but pretty much it's a learning experience. Physically, what our body, what needs to be done, and also emotionally, psychologically, you have to be positive that you have to keep going.
What about you, Meg? How has COVID affected you?
First, with work, I feel still blessed that I still have work because a lot of people are affected by COVID and has lost their jobs. One of them is my brother. He not really gave up, but his restaurant business in the Philippines in Siargao, he had to leave that because there's no income, tourism is really down. He had to come back here. And for me, I'm still working, and I'm really grateful that I can still work from home. Aside from work, there are a couple of travel plans, like family friend from Spain that were supposed to come and visit me here. They weren't able to come and visit me. So that was like a big thing for me. I was looking forward to it. And then supposedly this coming month, actually, I was supposed to, it was like my gift for my mom, long time like gift plan for her to be able to go on a pilgrimage to Lourdes and Fatima. I already planned it for her as like my gift for her, but we had to cancel those plans. So, like travel plans, those things had to be canceled.
Yeah, I totally feel you. And I hear all of you guys saying that. And I'm going to share mine. And I probably why we saved it for last because I have a couple of different aspects. First of all, when COVID hit back in March, we had a plan to travel Japan and in the Philippines. So all of that was already booked like in December. And mind you, we did start hearing about coronavirus then back in December, but it hasn't hit US, and the CDC back then had said that don't cancel your plans, just be careful, just wash your hands, just use hand sanitizers. And then they even said you don't have to wear a mask because the mask won't really protect you. Look where we are now, right? And so I think I'm a little bit more understanding though, because everyone, including the CDC and the World Health Organization and the health department, they're all learning as we go. So I get it. They didn't know what they didn't know back then. So there's a lot of controversy about, coronavirus and why it's a silent war and all of that. But anyway, my sister and I had to go to Japan. Well, we didn't have to, but we planned to go to Japan and then to the Philippines to enjoy my nephew's wedding and to, to be a part of it. And so when we went to Japan, it was like beginning of March or end of February, beginning March. And it was the most stressful, like, travel experience I've ever had because I remember my nail polish started to chip away because of all the hand sanitizers and alcohol that we just kept like rubbing our hands with. And then everywhere we went it was just that constant vigilance that as we get back to our hotel at night, it was just so stressful. And I keep my tension on my neck and I can just feel my neck all tensed up. But on the plus side, every places we went was not as packed as everyone had experienced it on their own travel. So we had beautiful pictures because there weren't anyone around us at all. Well, there were, but not many, you know? So when we posted our pictures, everyone would always comment and say, wow, you're lucky. There's like millions of people around you. I'm like, I don't know if we call ourselves lucky, but I guess picture wise, yes. And then we went to the Philippines. And at that time, COVID wasn't really so bad in the Philippines until the end of our travel, where the president started like banning domestic flights. So then my sister and I had to come back 2 days earlier than what we expected. And so when I came back here, I had to quarantine for like 14 days, which I was thankful for because that was like a vacation from my vacation. You know, yeah, because sometimes you take a vacation, you're so tired, you need more vacation, you're not ready to go back to work. So I emailed my boss and say, hey, according to CDC, I have to put myself on 14-day quarantine. It was such a good rest. I think I slept for 14 days straight. It felt like that. But all the stress from the travel, having to call Expedia, and the wait time was 3 hours, you know, all that stuff.
God.
My family was in the Philippines and their travel was a little later than me, my sister and I. Luckily, my sister and I started like late February, and then the end of our travel was going to be my nephew's wedding. While the rest of my family, the beginning of their travel was my nephew's wedding, and then they had other plans after that. They wanted to go to Palawan, all of this. Everything was canceled. And when they were there, there was a curfew. So they couldn't really enjoy. Like my nieces and nephews that have never been to the Philippines, they couldn't enjoy anything. But they were together and, you know, they had fun with the time that they had.
Yeah.
But they had to come back home and no one got to go where they wanted to. And I don't know if everyone got their refund. So fast forward to that, I think personally, COVID has, in my work environment, it has been stressful because I work in a retail mall management. And so all the stores are closed. We don't know when we're going to open again. We had to reclose again in the LA County. And at this point, we don't know when we're going to open again. But personally, I'm very thankful for it because as you guys know, I'm always very busy. And so it gave me a time to take a break from everyone. And things work, or God works in mysterious ways. Because just before I went on my vacation, I said to the universe, to myself, to God, I said, you know, I'm tired. I have a lot of responsibilities and I need a break. So then COVID happened. And so I got a break from everything, from all of my responsibilities. So there is definitely good and bad that came out of it personally for me, but I've been very thankful for the pause that it's forcing me to take. But at the same time, I'm also putting more on my plate because I have this pause. So I don't really know if I'm helping me or not. So that has been my story. And I wish we're going to get Kat's take too, because as a performer and an artist, she's had a lot of things that she had to adjust to during COVID as well. So, I forgot to mention, I've been teaching Zumba from home. So that's helped. Yeah, that's helped me not gain so much weight from eating, because that's the first thing we want to do when we're home is eat, eat, eat. And so as my way to give back, I've been doing a lot of free Zumbas online, but the challenge is not everyone enjoys doing virtual workouts. I don't mind it personally because I think I've learned through. Okay, so then I'm going to share this next question. Like, what have we learned about ourselves during COVID? So I've learned that I'm an ambivert. You guys might think I'm an extrovert. I'm always, hello, hi, everyone. I'm always out there. But I've been enjoying this introvert side of me where I'm just at home all day. And from morning time to nighttime, sometimes I'm in the same spot. Like, I like those days too. So I guess I'm an ambivert, not really an extrovert or not really an introvert. So that's what I've learned about myself lately, that I am happy and I don't have any kids. You know, you guys have kids, or technically I don't live with anyone. My sister stayed with me for a while here, but now she's back to school. So now I'm by myself again. I love it. I have plant babies. That's what I have.
You're a plant mommy.
Look, my plant.
That is so pretty.
Nice.
They're getting some sun right now. But so,
Beautiful.
what have you guys learned about yourself during COVID? I already shared mine. I talked a lot. So, Joy, let's start with you. What have you learned about yourself during this COVID time?
That I love staying home. I don't know if it's much difference from before, but I enjoy my time with my family and I just like the peace and quiet, I think. I don't feel the pressure to like meet with people. I just learned that I just like peace and quiet, like at home and just chill.
What about you, Pauline?
Well, COVID has given us a lot of learning experience throughout this 2020. But one thing that I've learned is I've noticed in my household, because of COVID, we have to disinfect, we have to clean, we have to do this all the time. Since this whole entire year, since January till September, knock on wood, nobody got sick because we were very cautious and very careful with everything. We don't put our hands on our faces and all that. And thank you, Lord, for not for
Keeping you safe.
yeah, and keeping us healthy. That's the one thing that I've learned. Oh, like we are healthy. Like we, because of cleaning every day, because of COVID, it helped us how to be very
Like, do you mean like to stay on top of cleanliness?
yeah. So it helped me a lot, especially here in my household and in my workplace. So very cautious in everything, clean here, clean over there. So yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Meg?
I've learned that there's a bookworm inside of me.
Yeah, you've been reading like a book every week.
Yeah, it's my new hobby. I enjoy it. Since the start of quarantine, I've been counting. I've read 16 books. Like what? 16 books. I've enjoyed reading. Before that was like not me. But now like every time I finish a book, it's like I'm itching for another new book to read. So I'm like addicted to books.
That's a good thing to be addicted to. There are other things you can be addicted to. Books.
Oh yeah.
We
You can be
approve.
addicted to putting things on your cart and Amazon app. That's a bad addiction.
Girl. Okay, so let's talk about that real quick. So a friend of mine posted and said, I have issues. Boxes keep coming to my door and I don't remember what I ordered. Have you guys been going through this? I mean, I've gone through this a little bit.
Yes, one thing I've learned about myself in COVID as well is buying things I don't need. Like you just find stuff. Oh, I think I need this, but I really
Okay, tell us one thing you bought you didn't need.
an air fryer. I didn't really need an air fryer. I didn't need extra sponges on like to clean the kitchen. Mostly house stuff. I did not need extra shoes for Faith. I did not need. There's things I had to return it, and I think David and I returned at least 8 items on
Just
Amazon.
because you didn't need it.
Yes.
You ordered it.
Exactly.
I feel you. I've ordered a lot of things too, but I'm not a good returner. So good for these people. I'm not going to return things I don't need. I'm either going to just keep it and find a way to use it or gift it to someone.
To be honest with you, COVID also, it's very expensive in my end because it's the same, Joy and Sween. I have to buy stuff or things to make my children be entertained. Yeah.
Let's talk about that. So what was the last thing you bought? I think I know what's the last thing you bought that's really expensive. Does it require a lot of water?
Yeah, well, that one too. So
Oh, does it have a fur?
that one too. Oh my gosh.
So a big pool and a dog so far.
Yeah.
And you had to decorate your patio. You had to buy a couch too, and all that stuff.
Yes. So I think for me, COVID, it's expensive for me because you have to bring what's out there in our home so that they're going to be entertained. Or they can go out there, or they can swim. They can hang out at the patio. They can play with a dog. Because I mean, to be honest with you, like 2 months ago, everything is like most of the restaurants, most of the beaches are closed. So we can't do anything. We have to help ourselves and entertain ourselves. That's why we have to like buy all this. Yeah.
On
It's a
the
lot of
plus
money.
side, on the plus side, I'd have to say I'm thankful we all have kept our jobs so
Yeah.
far.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So far, I know Kat has
No complaint.
no, yeah, I'm definitely not complaining. And I know Kat has had to be creative, but she's doing well. She's been teaching piano back to back to back virtually.
Mhm.
So I think that in all of us, there's that hustler inside of us. And we definitely have, found a way to keep our jobs or to keep ourselves, to justify keeping our jobs, of course. And so I'm thankful for that.
Oh yeah.
What else do we want to talk about in this quarantine special? Thinking about the people that might listen to this in the future.
Wait, I want to open up something.
Okay.
So all of us, we're blessed because we have our job still. We're okay. We have our home and everything. There's food that coming in. But how about the people in our in the Philippines, the third world country? The people that they don't have any jobs right now. They don't have any food. I have, like my brother was telling me that he has, because they have a shop for jerseys. He has a partner in that thing. So this little boy, I asked, oh, how is he doing now? So he would just ask 200 pesos from my brother and like, oh, so I can buy food for the day. I'm like, I can't only imagine there's millions of there in the Philippines or
yeah.
any other countries that has been affected with COVID. Us, we're lucky here in America, or some of our friends back in the Philippines who are well off. They're lucky enough to have food, to have their jobs, to have their business. But how about other people? That's my main thing. Like sometimes I think of what scenario and what stuff that we can help them. Like I would imagine stuff like, oh, how about this? We would send money and give them food. But then it's so difficult because I'm here in America. So that's why I'm just opening it up to you guys. And how are we going to be able to help them in that aspect?
I have something to share as well in that aspect. My college group, my friends, we would Zoom each other, and a couple of them work for ABS-CBN, and all of the ones that worked for ABS-CBN lost their jobs, and so they're really affected. The other one is also having a baby, and so just for like to help, like as Filipinos are always like love to laugh. So we had like this game that it's like popular now in the Philippines, the ayuda means help. It's like people who have money help other people, like food, donations for food. And so we had like this game in our Zoom call that whoever wins this game will have an ayuda. So we like contributed and gave ayuda to the one who won, something like that.
That's a very thoughtful way.
Yeah, that's very nice. I get conflicted because I have a personal story. A childhood friend of mine that, I barely even remember him because we were childhood friends when I was so young. I remember their family though. They used to live in the back house of our house. And so he recently reached out to me. Of course, he starts a conversation, and then I already can feel that he's about to ask me for money. But, I get a little resistant because I have cousins, I have family who needs money. And then I'm like, if I give this guy money, is he going to keep asking me? Is he going to, you know what I mean? So there's just that difficulty when it comes to somebody asking. And it's like, okay, how can I help? But how can I not be taken advantage of? You know what I mean? So my auntie works for the NFA, which is National Food Association. And so I bought a sack of rice from her, and then I had that childhood friend of mine go pick up a sack of rice. And a sack of rice, I think, is like 1,500 pesos, something like that. So it's not much in our, $27 or something like that. So it's not much, but it makes me think back, like, should I feel bad that I'm not giving him money? So it's hard because you can't help everyone. And sometimes you get in a position where, okay, you help one person and then there's other people also that needs help, and you can't help everyone. So I don't know how you guys feel about that too. And for you guys that are listening or watching this, if you have any means of helping other people in other third world countries, like, I totally support that, because a lot of people need help. There's no jobs. And even if they are hustlers, they're not allowed to do certain things right now back home. There's no public transportation. So if they go somewhere to pick up anything, they do have to rent a tricycle to go, get somewhere. So it's a tough time back home for sure. So thank you for bringing that up. Anyone else have anything else? Well, thank you for bringing that up, you guys. I mean, COVID, if you guys are listening, COVID, 2020 has been tough. It's tough all over the world. It's tough in third world countries. It's tough here in LA alone, because it has felt like, back to back to back of challenges. Like recently we just had the fires. So we had COVID. We couldn't go outside. Finally, we were allowed to go to places, but as long as it's outdoors. But then we had the fire. So we can't be outdoors because we can't breathe and the air quality is bad. And so I think that they're starting to have a better handle on the Bobcat fires now. Then the other day we had earthquake. Imagine if that earthquake was like bigger than what it was. Like,
Oh my God.
2020, please, But my thing is, a lot of people are saying, please take me to 2021. I kind of feel that way too, but at the same time, I'm like, we don't even know what 2021 brings. It could be worse.
Yeah.
Just take me back to 2019.
I love 2019.
Or just take you back, or you're never gonna go forward. Or at least if they take us back to 2019, we could have done a better job at closing the airports ASAP when we heard of the COVID, right? I think that the government or whoever's out there in charge could have responded a little bit more swiftly, and it could have helped all this, because now we are going to have an economic crisis. Do you know, like, every retailer is going to file for bankruptcy, period. Like, they're not going to want to pay all their debts, so they're going to file for bankruptcy. Once they file for bankruptcy, all of their landlords are not going to get the rent, and then what are the landlords going to do? What I don't even know. Like, I'm not an economist, so I don't know how everything works, but no one is making money, so no one is going to pay any money to anyone that they owe. So I just don't know how things are going to be like once we recover. And I don't know how long that will take.
Hopefully soon.
Yeah, it's not going to be, though. It's not going to be soon. I think it's going to take another year. I was in just one last thing I want to share. I was on a call this past Friday, and right now as we're recording this is September 20th. It was a call with the health department and mall operators. And the health department basically said, we cannot open indoor malls in the LA County because LA County is huge. Orange County is smaller. The other counties are so much smaller that when LA County opens up, they're talking about over 400,000 restaurants, versus if Orange County opens up, it's like 5 times less than that. So they're just saying that in LA County, still isn't an estimated time that businesses can open back up again. So indoor malls, and a lot of the stores and the mom and pops are indoor malls. But if they're a store that has an outside door and entrance, they're open now. So it's a tough time for everyone. And I mean, I feel bad. I don't know what one person can really do, but I hope that you guys out there listening to us can do, what you can to help others, helping nonprofits help others, or help your friends that that are in need of your help. So thank you for listening to our COVID special, and please leave us comments, send us questions, any comments or questions that you guys send us because of this podcast or YouTube video. We definitely will check them and respond to you. So make sure that you engage with us. And thank you again for listening to another episode of All Abroad Podcast. Bye.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching another episode of All Abroad Podcast. If you're listening to us on one of your favorite podcast platforms, please don't forget to rate us and subscribe. Or if you're watching us on YouTube, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.